Welcome, welcome, ladies. We're going to get down and dirty today. Just kidding. We just had the Pisces new moon 2 days ago. I'm going to be commenting on what that means for you and how that's interacting with us spiritually and energetically right now. I'm going to be telling you about 3 common reasons why other programs and other healing modalities don't work. Sometimes they do, but here are the reasons they don't, so that you can make sure that postpartum, you're hooking yourself up with a provider that has the vital ingredients for postpartum mental health, long-term root solution healing. I can't even wait. Let's get started. Welcome to the Postpartum Coach podcast, where we embrace our needs as moms, we learn to lead ourselves first, then our families, and where we create our own healing from the inside out to find our way to the work we were meant to do in this world. I'm your host, a fellow mom of 3 and a certified life coach, Lizzie Langston. Hello, hello. That intro feels a little friendly, and today I'm feeling a little sharper than that. So I have some big points to make. I have some big intensive things to tell you. The first thing I want to tell you is that I'm offering a free live call, actually 2 of them on the same day, just to be convenient for you. So Monday, February 27th, if you are interested in my program, if you want to get to know me better, if you just want to hear more about what I actually believe about postpartum, my journey, and the ways that I believe that root cause centered holistic healing happens with your mental health postpartum, self-healing, then come to this free live call. There's going to be 2 of them. One of them is at 11 a.m. on Monday, February 27th, and one of them is at 7 p.m. And those are both Mountain Standard Time. I'm going to put the link to register in my show notes. It's also in my Instagram bio, LizzieLangston. That's my website. My Instagram is at Lizzie, Lizzie. .postpartum coach. So you can register in the show notes or on my Instagram. But this free call is really to just help you feel safe, get to know me better, and make sure that this program's the right fit for you. Time is winding down, my loves. I've burned some rosemary, by the way. I have some rosemary here. I've been drying it for a couple days, and now I'm burning it a little bit, and it smells amazing. So the postpartum program, Postpartum Freedom, enrollment. Remember, you get lifetime access to the curriculum, lifetime community when you're finished with the program, and also community for those 12 weeks of live calls. It's coaching and processing. All of this is $2,000, and you can make payments, and it's so good. I've had other influencers in the postpartum space approaching me being like, girl, I love what you're doing and wanting to share about my program. I have a feeling, I love that I've manifested that. And I have a feeling that this last week, things are going to rev up and people are going to be filling up spots quickly. So if you've been sitting on the fence, take action. You can still book a consult with me. So it's LizzieLangston.com/program. Scroll down, book a consult. I'm actually going to put the direct link to book a consult with me in the show notes, but your time is running out, my friends. So don't wait. Okay. Let's talk about the Pisces new moon that just happened 2 days ago. If you're not really into astrology, let's just talk about moon phases. Every moon phase has something new. So basically, new moons are a time to release and renew. And the moon phase goes all throughout the month, every month. It's like a 28-day cycle or something like that. So just under a month. And if you do nothing more than just follow the moon, you would be in a really good position to be more connected to the forces that are trying to guide and nurture you in the universe. Okay. So new moon is a time to release and renew. The first quarter moon is a time to assess. The full moon is always a time to show up. And then the last quarter moon is other stuff, and eclipses are different too. And every time there is a new moon, it's in a different constellation or a different house, and it has different energy. So Pisces is the energy of the empath. It's the most watery spiritual energy. It's very much of the imagination. It's of basically your future and having that visionary element. connecting deeply with yourself. It's a time to fine tune spiritually. And I'm reading this, by the way, I want to give credit to Sil Carson. Sil is short for Sylvia, and she's with Bodhi Yoga. She's incredible, an incredible, legitimate astrologer, and also yoga instructor and teacher and guru. And I certified with her for yoga. I've learned my astrology from her. She's amazing. She does have a free Facebook group if you want to dive more into astrology. It's called Soul Weather, something like that. Soul Weather with Sil Carson. So you can check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. But, yeah, so this season that we're in right now is such a great time to deal with what you've been feeling emotionally, spiritually under the surface. Something that's been happening for me is I basically said a prayer and was like, I need to know if there's any blocks in my manifestations, because I was sensing there were. What is it? Like, show me. And I was not instantly, but like really within that next day, I was shown two different, like a book and then a video that have really helped me course correct and shift into using my imagination more to call in what I am manifesting. And how this applies to you right now in your healing journey postpartum, in feeling better and grounding yourself, finding yourself again, is now is a time to be releasing fear. And it is a time to be stepping into your actual reality that you desire for yourself. So fear will always be there, but have you been letting it be in the driver's seat? Especially with your mental health postpartum. Sometimes the fear of, that I could never feel normal again, that I'll always be this mean, short-tempered mom, that I'll never have a great sex life again with my partner, whatever, that this is going to happen again and I can't have more babies and blah, 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 blah. I'm doomed, right? This hopelessness, it's so real. I want to validate it. My voice is doing weird things today. Sorry. I'm pregnant. But I also want to tell you that this new moon is telling you it's time to release that and to renew your state of mind, to get it more aligned with where you want to go. Because where you focus, where your energy flows, where your attention goes, your energy flows. That's what I meant to say. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And if your attention is on how bad your thoughts are, how crazy your body's been feeling, your energy is just going to feed that. So what I do in my program, Postpartum Freedom, for 12 weeks, we are on hyper hope mode. We are leaving behind fear. We are learning and preparing ourselves for those intense moments with tools so that we can successfully rebirth. I truly believe that anxiety, depressiveness, postpartum raginess, and all of the things that plague us postpartum with our mental health, that steal our stability emotionally and mentally, that take away our typical personality and rhythm of life, are sent from our subconscious. They are not just symptoms, they are signals. And they are sent to us from our subconscious to help us, to guide us to the person and the new level of consciousness that we are stepping into. And if you want to trust in that, if you want to trust in me to guide you through that, I am the perfect rebirthing of yourself doula. Why does it happen postpartum when we have so much on our plates? I can't tell you that. I mean, I have some guesses. If you hear my wind chimes in the background, it's extremely windy and stormy outside. So that's why it's kind of cozy in here. I have some guesses as to what stirs the pot and makes things kind of come up to the surface postpartum. Sometimes birth trauma, sometimes honestly, just the transition to postpartum, kind of we hit our max. We could have been close to hitting our max at any time. And then just all of the rigmarole of becoming a mom or having that next baby and the isolation or the challenges of postpartum and the emotional load that kind of we start to build up. If we're not managing our emotions all of the time, 100%, it can start to build. And if we were already really full of trauma, sometimes we just hit our max. Also, I think there really is a tendency for the body and mind and soul to want to upgrade as we make way for the new generation and to want to leave behind and shed layers of not useful parenting patterns, all of that stuff. So it's actually a really perfect time to be doing it, but you don't have to be doing it alone. You don't have to be trying to raise a baby while also rebirthing yourself by yourself. It wasn't meant to be by ourselves. We've kind of been duped into thinking that we're supposed to just be these strong, independent women all the time, doing it all by ourselves all the time. And the America that I live in, at least, has definitely given women points for that. But the reality is it's detrimental, and women need women postpartum. There are these sacred, intuitive parts of us that are so feminine that even our most beloved, if you have a male partner, or even if you have a partner who just doesn't understand or get it, we need a woman to guide us. We need to because without even realizing it, we will hold back the full expression of our femininity that wants to come out postpartum in the presence of individuals who don't understand. And that could be women too that don't understand. So we need to find women who get it, who get us. And my program will be full of them. Enrollment closes March 1st. So join us, get in, the doors are closing. All the links you need to talk to me, to figure out how you want to do it, make the payments, everything's in the show notes. Okay. So let's dive into the episode I have for you. I had such a pleasure writing this up, and here's how it came to be. I'm going to read you the testimonial that inspired this episode. Okay. This comes from Sarah C., who was a member of Postpartum Freedom in our last cohort, and she is now part of the graduate community that you will get to be a part of when you're through the 12-week program. So she said, I've done a lot of work in the past, healing work, tapping, changing my beliefs, affirmations, healings, things like that. The skills and the approach that Lizzie has for in the moment is something I had not learned, and exactly what I needed, and is exactly what I continue to need and use all day, every day. I now have the skills and knowledge to process emotions in the moment. I don't have to let it store and build up and boil over. The work that I've done has been so helpful and so amazing. It has changed my life and my family's. I'm coming to know who I am postpartum and loving that person. I'm so grateful for Lizzie's approach. The skills and the way Lizzie approaches it are so special and applicable in those everyday moments. Lizzie is also an angel to work with. She's been blessed with a unique skill to know exactly how to help you. When to listen, when to clarify, when to give advice. She's the real deal, and I know she genuinely cares about me and my healing and learning journey. Lizzie, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so did you guys catch? She's done a lot of stuff in the past. So people come to me after they've done couples therapy. They come to me after they've been doing regular, like personal individual therapy. They come to me after they've been doing more holistic things like acupuncture, massage therapy, yoga. And I don't necessarily replace those things. Sometimes people do therapy and my coaching program. Sometimes people are still doing other holistic healing modalities and they're getting their hands on my tools. So I'm not here to disparage or talk down about any of those things. But today what I want to do is I want to go over 3 things that I've seen in people who are in other providers' containers, specifically postpartum women with postpartum mental health issues. It's a very specialized thing to work through. And when you're with a provider who's not super specialized in it, there are some things that you need to watch out for to make sure that you're getting the root focused healing that will be long-term that you desire. So the first thing that I have noticed as I've talked to people who have come to my program and then they tell me things about what it was like in other programs, there's 3 things. The first thing is there's a lack of safety sometimes with a provider, especially if that provider has not birthed the child by themselves, like through their own body. And also just if they're a little bit older, if they're just out of touch, disconnected from the postpartum experience. Also, if they have a legal duty to report things and you're scared of the way you're behaving and you're nervous that if you tell them about some of the things that you've been feeling or thinking that they're going to like call somebody and take you away, that's a really scary prospect. And not that you shouldn't work with people who should be reporting things, and not that that's ever not that that's never the right situation, but there's a few things that create safety with the person you're working with and some things that take away from it. And so I want to go through a short little list. So first of all, I want you to know and rest assured that research has shown that it's not the modality, like whether it's coaching or therapy or massage therapy or whatever, as much as it is the trust between you and the provider. Okay. So this is so important. If you feel relaxed and like I'm one of your people, chances are the healing we do together, the work we do together, and the modality and my process will be extremely effective for you. If you feel like you trust somebody, that is more important than how they actually help you. Let me say that again. If you feel like somebody's trustworthy and that they will actually get you the help, it's more important than the actual tools they use. There's something about the trust exchange that happens way before you ever pay someone. It's usually in their marketing. It's usually when you meet them or you hear about them that really makes things potent. It's why it's so incredible when women are able to be referred to me by their friends or family. Or if you're able to sit on my Instagram and just watch me for a while, or you're able to binge the podcast and be like, oh my gosh, she gets it. She gets me, right? When you have that deep level of trust and connection with somebody, that is extremely valuable to you. Don't underestimate that. So I'm not just selling you guys my program. I'm trying to make use of the relationship that we've built, because I know that because we have a relationship, even if I've never actually spoken to you, because you've been in my realm, my sphere, you've been getting my emails, you've been watching my free mini course, you've been on the podcast, on the Instagram, whatever it is. Because of that special connection, I can help you. You will trust me, and I don't want to take advantage of that or exploit that. I just know that that will actually move the needle for you. So get in, come closer. Let's work together. Let's make it through this and make a real change, transformation, and difference. So when you talk to people someone that's going to be helping you, are you feeling intimidated, or do you feel like relaxed and she's like a good friend? Sometimes providers aren't real. It's like, I hate to say this, but I've kind of noticed that in the therapy world, and it's not their fault as therapists, it's that the way that they are raised in their education is very more formal. It's very more research based. It's a leg of the medical field. And that kind of sometimes can create a disadvantage in the actual session, because there can be some, limits and professional boundaries that, while they can be helpful and have a place, and I also have limits and professional boundaries, one of the things I love about being a coach is that I can stay in touch with my clients later. I can continue a personal relationship with them if I want to, or if they want to. And again, I watch that carefully. I make sure that everything is kosher and stuff, but I'm not limited to, oh no, I can never talk to you or see you or contact you outside of our sessions. And that just feels like long-term such a real relatable way to be. Sometimes other providers will try to fix your problem instead of just let you express the emotion. And they don't really know when to hold space for your processing and when to coach you. So even other coaches, I've had women come to me after other coaching programs or coaches that they'd worked with. And then they come to me for postpartum specific work, and they're like, whoa, this feels so different. I am not your typical run-of-the-mill coach. And every coach is different. Coaching is what we call an unregulated industry. And that just means that every coach sets up their own shop and does it their own way, and literally could be night and day different from another coach. And so, but I will say that one thing that I've gotten really good at, and I think Sarah was so generous in her testimonial to talk about this, is I know when to just sit back and be quiet, even if you might want me to talk. I know when silence is needed. I know when you just need to be with your emotion. And then I also know when you're ready to take another look at it. And I don't just know these things. Your body tells me a lot, and I get a lot from your voice and your cues. So I just read a lot in your body. But you want somebody that has that skill, and that's not just in their head, like running you through the model or running you through some sort of tools that they use in their practice, like treating you like the human that you are and really reading you on a one-to-one level. And that totally happens in my program. Remember, you guys, there are 2 VIP spots available, just 2 of them. So there's 12 spots total in the program. And there's 2 upgrade spots, which is you get access to me for 6 total private sessions in addition to your 12 weeks on the live calls with the group. So basically what that comes down to is 2 private sessions per month throughout the 3 months, 6 total. And that upgrade is called the VIP upgrade, and it's on my website, LizzieLangston.com/program. So if you want some private support as well, be one of the 2 women to claim one of those upgrades. Okay. I hear the saddest stories, but sometimes other providers can be annoyed, or the biggest one I feel like people tell me about later, like when it's over, is they even have trauma from this sometimes, is people that they're paying good money to work with them might seem inconvenienced when you reach out to them and need a little bit of like extra support, which is just a sign that this person hasn't made decisions around boundaries and doesn't have boundaries set up and is probably not protecting themselves, taking care of themselves enough. And so they're passing a little bit of that resentment or that inconvenienced vibe onto you. So it's not a thing about you, but that can happen, and it can break down the safety and trust that you feel to really express yourself and like lay all of your messy out there. If you have a really strong personality, something that I've experienced, this happened to be in a therapy session, but the provider might just sort of like be so smitten with you, not like in an attraction way, but like oh, you're my dream client kind of a way, that they can lean back and start to not really lead, and you kind of start to lead, and it's really weird and not good. You want somebody who knows how to receive the amazing clients that she attracts and draws in, and also still lead them and not be like so overwhelmed with like, oh my gosh, I just love what I do, that she can't actually like stick her ground and be the leader that you came to her for. I've had people talk about other providers being condescending. I'm so sorry if this has ever happened to you. This is called institutionalized trauma. Basically, it's new trauma that you experience as you make the very vulnerable move to go get help. And when other providers are not trauma informed, which is another piece of this list here, that can happen. When they don't notice their own nervous system while they're talking to you. They are humans. So they are professionals, but they're humans. And if they're not informed and intimately familiar with their own triggers, even during a session, they can actually do harm to you sometimes. And so it's and I don't want to scare you. It's just really important that you work with a provider who is self-aware and has that nervous system training like I do. Okay. I am trauma informed. I am very everyday, very real. And I think that's something that I hope makes you feel even more comfortable. And yet at the same time, I have a deep professionality about me because I care so deeply about getting my clients results and, having a brand that has a good reputation. Listen, I don't have credentials. Like I have credentials. I'm a certified life coach. I have a BA in family studies and human development. But I don't have like some fancy therapy degree to earn me clients without me doing anything. My business is earned by getting people results, right? Like I have to earn every client and all of my reputation as a life coach by getting people results. My testimonials are my credentials, period. So I do that. And I make sure that I go above and beyond to get people what they pay for and more. So that number one, my program grows and people tell other people about it because they're so well served. And number two, it's powerful transformation that comes back into bringing people into the next program. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I have nothing to hide. I'm in complete integrity. And I promise you, when it comes to postpartum depression, anxiety, raginess, unless you are planning or have attempted suicide and you're too deep into that realm, or you've been an inpatient and it's gotten more serious than it is a right fit for my program, if you're just your typical mom who feels a little bit knocked off of her rocker and off of her normalness because of what her body and mind are doing postpartum, I can help you. So yeah, I don't judge. And I think that's really important we talk about. And anytime I have felt judgment, I will reach out to that person personally because chances are they felt it too. And if that's ever the case, we talk about it. I sense it. I sniff it out. I'm on to myself. Okay. And then I wanted to tell you, I don't push my religious beliefs on clients. I keep that completely separate. And frankly, my beliefs of like what is in the universe and truth are constantly shifting and evolving as I become more connected to who I really am. All right. So that's the first one, is that there can be a lack of safety with the provider. We don't see it that way. We kind of just feel it like vibes, like I feel drawn to her or I don't. But if you feel drawn to me, the chances are that that's your intuition calling to you and that I can help you. All right. The next one is nervous system escalation upon purchasing. I think this one is so interesting, but If the price of somebody's offering is so expensive that you are mentally and emotionally so stressed at being able to make the payments, or it's such a big jump, if you've never invested in yourself and all of a sudden you're investing $10,000 or something, not that that can't happen in a healthy way, but you just need to have a provider that cares not just about signing the deal and getting the money, but that cares about how you feel while you're making the purchase, which is one of the reasons I'm offering free consults and this free call, which again, the link is in the show notes. It's Monday, February 27th. I really want to be there with you and support you through the purchasing process and the investment process, all of the thoughts and the emotions that go into that. I know that journey well. I've done over 100 consultations with women and many of them have hired me. And often we do follow-ups. And so I really understand what it is to be making a decision to invest in yourself and deciding on a program. And it's important to me that as you do that, you have some assistance to regulate your nervous system so that you come into my program in a state ready to learn and for success, that you're not coming into my program freaked out and like you've stuck your arm out so far that it almost feels like too much, right? So I don't see, sometimes there's other professionals out there that are a little bit more focused for whatever the reason is, and they might not even be consciously aware of it, but they're really focused on just making the sales, and I think I was probably that person really early on in my career too. So I can have compassion with that. But as I've wisened up and matured and helped more and more women over the 4 years I've been in business, one thing I've noticed is that how you make the purchase is also how you start the program. And so I do my very, very best to be there and be available for you in the purchase process. And please take me up on that. Please do not be sitting over there like, oh, I don't want to waste her time. Like if you are interested, I am here to have a conversation and to help support you in that. And even if you decide, oh, you know what, I can't afford it this round, I'm going to do it next round. Or even if you decide, you know what, I think I'm going to go with an in-person somebody in my neighborhood, whatever, I will love you still. And I'm happy to give you that 20 or 30 minutes on a free consult. I'm also very happy to answer your questions on my live call. The live call, you can submit your questions in the chat box either directly to me, so they're kind of private anonymous and I can respond private anonymously, or you can just put them in the chat box for everybody to see. It's really simple. I'll talk to you about how to do that when we're on the call. So again, the link to register for that call or book a consult or check out yourself on the program page is all in my show notes. Okay. Here's one more thing on this. I want you to know how it could feel and how you maybe want to shoot for it feeling when you make an investment postpartum with your mental health, or really anytime. You want to feel relief, a little bit of excitement or hope, and you want to notice that you are starting to down-regulate as soon as you've made the purchase and you're in the program. So what is down-regulation? Down-regulation is essentially the opposite of escalation or your nervous system getting worked up. And so if you've had symptoms, you want to start to see your symptoms relax a little bit. You will still be struggling, before you get the help and the attention and your hands on my curriculum, for example, you'll still have challenges. It's not like it's just, you're going to all magically be better just because you entered a program. However, you want to feel yourself starting to relax. You want to feel held. So when you join a program, you want to feel held. Okay. When you meet with your mentor, you should always feel an expansion. That doesn't mean that fear is not present, but you should feel an expanding yes from your solar plexus, an expanding yes in your heart. Even if you are sometimes met by the provider with ideas or questions that really tweak your brain, it feels like you want more of it. You like it. It's with consent. You are open to it. So again, how do you feel listening to this podcast? That's your best indicator at how you could feel working with me inside of my program. This is, by the way, this whole how it should feel relief right away. I know that this sets you up for a really good momentum. And so that's why I choose to give you immediate access. So my platform that my course and my program everything's hosted through is called Kajabi. And you literally get an email as soon as you make your first payment or pay in full, however you do it. You get an email right away with your login and your password. and it's automatically sent. This allows you to get momentum from your purchase and take that good energy and flow and get learning and changing. If you want to sit with it though, you don't have to join you don't have to get into the material right away, but it's there because the whole purpose of my curriculum is to get you on your way to transforming, to creating a 180-degree shift in your state of being. All right. So again, it's just lizzieLangston.com/program. All right. The next thing that I notice is that, and this is probably the biggest issue that I see with non-specific to postpartum mental health care, is people are not always body informed, or the fancy language for that is somatically informed, somatically inclined. So providers might not be really recognizing how much information and communication your body is giving to them during a coaching session. This is actually something that certified coaches through the Life Coach School will come to me and they'll want to learn because they've experienced my coaching. And then they go get certified in regular old life coaching, which is so great. It's so powerful. And a lot of times, mainstream life coaching doesn't teach you how to read someone's body, how to be engaged with their subconscious mind, how to know what their body language is saying. Sometimes I just sense stuff. For example, this girl, Sarah, that left this testimonial, she continued on with me in some private sessions for a while. We just had one the other day. And she said something and then she kind of interrupted herself and changed directions. And I felt something it was like I could feel that there was emotion present when she started saying that thing, but then she sort of flipped, which is common. Okay. When we are uncomfortable with something that we're feeling, or we feel overwhelmed, or we don't know how to approach it, we'll sort of touch it briefly and then zoom away verbally. All right. When we're talking. And so I just waited for her to finish talking. I was listening to what she was saying, but then when the moment was right, I invited her to go back to that piece of conversation and I asked her if there was emotion there. And she said she couldn't talk because she started crying. And of course it was, yes, there was emotion there. And then we were able to go into that, and it wasn't if I was just letting her lead, she wouldn't have talked about it because it was what she needed to talk about, but it was scary and vulnerable and hard to talk about. And she had judgment about it, right? And so I was able to gently bring her back to that and just hold the space until she was able to go deeper into it. And it took some big emotions coming up before she could even speak about it. But little things like that are what set me apart in the postpartum realm, when your body is talking way more and your body's making way more sense and it's talking way more efficiently than our brains are. So you need someone who can read your body. I think I've said it all. I have some other things I wrote, but I was like, meh. So, there can also be, on the other end of the spectrum, there can be too much just validation and let's just sit here and let you cry without enough structured coaching and sort of the poking and prodding that we do in a constructive way. And I hear that a lot sometimes with therapy. It's like people love therapy and then it feels like it's not working anymore. That's usually when you need coaching. Okay. Now my coaching happens to have a lot of therapeutic level structures and tools that I use in there, and processing mechanisms that I use that I've learned. Like I said, I studied with a trauma therapist. And so I've learned all these things, not all of the things, but I've learned a lot. So, my coaching sort of feels like therapy in the beginning, and then we get to the coaching when you're ready. So it's like the perfect hybrid. One thing I wanted to tell you is that we breathe and practice getting silent and getting out of our brain on every single call. You might not quite yet understand why this is so important, but I do. So don't worry, I will teach you. And everybody that has been through my program will tell you that it is the number one thing that they will miss the most from being on the live calls. And it is the number one thing they use in the assets that you get when you join my program. You get the curriculum, you get my private podcast, and then you get my meditation podcast. And my meditation podcast just has a bunch of meditations that I've done for you that you can just sit back and be guided through a meditation. If it's a little bit intimidating to sit there and do your own thing, if you're kind of like how I was at the beginning of my meditation journey, where you're like, okay, so what do I do? Because your head still wants to take control. Your ego does not like giving up and yielding control, but it is that that ability to descend and just be in your body and just be, and not be in thought, but just exist. It is like a reset button when you can do it right. And I help you do that on every call to where you're starting to want to do it on your own. It feels natural. Can you imagine? Speaking of the Pisces new moon, let's imagine together. We're going to use our spiritual imagination. I just want you to imagine, what is the version of yourself that you most desire to have? Who do you crave to be? If you could drop every fear you've ever had, and if you could actually align yourself with who you want to be deep down, would you dare to be her, and who would she be? Because it's time. The world and your family and your children, they need you, and you deserve to live outside of fear and to become who you want to be. And there is a whole community of women who want this for you and who want to bring that out of you. I know it's scary. There's a certain level of safety in staying in the known expression of who you are. But if you are dealing with anxiety and depression postpartum, then what your body is telling you is it is time to become a new version of you. And those are the signals that it is time. And I know the way with my process. I can give you the safe container. So go to LizzieLangston.com/program. The program is enrolling for 7 more days, 1 week from today. It closes at midnight, March 1st. Go to LizzieLangston.com/program. Join us. You can also come to the live call. The link for that is in the show notes. It's also on my Instagram. And then you can also book a consult. All the links are in the show notes. I love you guys. You're amazing. We'll talk to you soon.